The Utah Jazz get a big game from Lauri Markkanen, but it's not enough to get past the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic. Let's talk about it. How good are the Jazz? Are they back? It's the Hoops Nerd Show. All right, guys, before we get into it, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com, use promo code HoopsNerd. They will match up to $100. That's free money. If you haven't already, go to Prize Picks, use promo code HoopsNerd. Everyone's using it, including someone on the Toronto Raptors. But anyways, go to prizepicks.com, use promo code HoopsNerd. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I have a lot of fun. And guess what? We have like 10 or 11 games left. It's your last chance to try it. So go get it. Try it out. It's a lot of fun. And then obviously you can do it during the NFL season and baseball if you're good at that as well. So go use promo code HoopsNerd. It supports the channel and I would appreciate it. All right. So the Utah Jazz lose to the Dallas Mavericks. I asked if the Jazz are back. No, they are not back. But there were some really promising things and some stuff to be excited about if you're a Jazz fan. I know a lot of Jazz fans right now are not excited about what's going on with the team, although some fans I think are fine with it. I think a lot of fans are realizing that this is the right way to go for Utah, at least for now, as long as they keep it going, because in the long run, if your goal is to win a championship, then the Jazz are doing what they need to do. Now they need to make a decision this offseason of what they're going for. And there's some things that I have an idea of what they might do, but we'll see. You never know. Danny Ainge is always willing to zig when everyone else is zagging and zag when everyone else is zigging. So we'll see. Let's see. Let's go through it old school style. The first thing is that Lauri Markkanen showed up in a big way for the Utah Jazz. It's been a while for him to have one of these 30-plus point games. In fact, I'm going to bring this up. He had a monster night tonight with his shooting. It was great. Let's see. Markkanen. And then if you look at his last 5 games, he has not scored any more than 25 points in obviously the last 5. But then if you go here, Markkanen has not scored over 30 points since, let's see here. You have to go back to February 6th. It's been a while. It's March 25th. He has not scored above 30 points since February 6th. So it's nice to see him finally get that groove back, and he was just shooting the ball. And I have to say, the Jazz were passing the ball, doing a great job of that, and they were getting him the ball. And you know what? He was knocking him down. A lot of games he's been just not hitting them, and I don't know if he wasn't quite right. He looks right to me the last 2 games, and tonight especially. So 10 for 19 from the field. I mean, shooting splits were off the charts tonight. 10 for 19 from the field, 6 for 9 from 3. Very nice percentage there at 66%, and 8 for 8 from the free throw line. Also 7 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block, and only 1 turnover. So just a fantastic night for Lauri Markkanen. Guys, I'm going to talk about Stephon Castle tonight. I'm going to talk about him because I think he might be someone the Jazz are interested in. We'll see. I know I'm interested in him, and I hope he's there for the Jazz at 9. In fact, we got to start watching these pathetic Brooklyn Nets who won tonight. Uh-oh. Jazz are just 2 games back, baby. And I can tell you right now, Utah is probably very interested to get up to that next spot. Come on. Come on, baby. All right, so John Collins. I mean, have we talked enough about Lauri Markkanen? I think I kind of got ahead of myself because there's some Stephon Castle excitement for me. And I think as Jazz fans, you should also be pretty excited about what Stephon Castle brings, the mentality and everything. Anyways, this is a Jazz podcast right now. We'll do draft later on. Taylor Hendricks was great tonight. Dre, you're talking about Taylor Hendricks. I'm going to talk about Taylor Hendricks. Yes, the shooting splits were not great, but that's to be expected. The rookies are going to have up and down nights. And, I had someone tweeting, like sending me DMs worried about Keontae George's shooting splits, and he is in a terrible slump right now. It's a fact. It's like 6 games where he just can't shoot the three. But you know what? That's rookies. You know, I don't start really worrying about shooting splits until year 2 or year 3. I bet, you know, who's probably pretty happy they didn't give up on someone because of their shooting splits? The Houston Rockets and Jalen Green, based off of what he did the other night. Holy smokes. You know, let these guys develop. We know Keontae George can shoot the ball. We know Taylor Hendricks can shoot the ball. It just takes time. You go from high school line to college line to NBA line in like a year's span, it feels like. And you're shooting the ball at a higher level, being guarded by NBA athletes. And it's going to take time, okay? It just is what it is, you know? So I'm not worried about it. Now, if the end of year 2, if year 3, they're not shooting it well, then you start getting worried, you know? But for now, it's the rookies. It is what it is, you know? You can't really take too much. I mean, they're not shooting the ball just absolutely horrible, but, you know, you'd like to see that ball start falling for them. Honestly, if Keontae has a big night shooting the ball, the Jazz win this game probably with ease. And it was really because of the defense. And that started with Taylor Hendricks, who, I mean, his ability to guard basically every position. I don't know if he's quite there yet with the center, but I'd like to see it at some point. The Jazz have not run him at center yet this year. I keep watching for it. And I don't think we'll see that until possibly next year. I think he can do it because he's so long and he's stronger than I thought. I just think a Hendricks, and maybe they just don't have the personnel yet, enough players to do that. But I just think that might be fun to see at some point. What does it look like when Taylor Hendricks is at the 5, Lauri Markkanen's at the 4, you know, and then, you know, if you've got Stephon Castle or someone like that with Keontae, and then you can run, you know, the Jazz just need more talent. They just need more guys. You know, I was kind of wondering, you know, I think Jonathan Givony's, his big board came out yesterday or today, I can't remember, and he has Cody Williams dropping to the Jazz, which would actually be a really nice fit in a scenario like that if you do want to have some small ball lineups with Hendricks at the 5, because Cody Williams can absolutely guard 4 positions. But anyways, I want to talk about just Taylor Hendricks, and he's such a versatile defender. He can guard at least all 4 of the first 4 positions, guard to forward, and I think he can do a little bit of center too. He can definitely block from the weak side. It's freaking awesome. That one foul call they called on him where he blocked that shot at the rim, it should have been a foul on, it was obviously a foul on Sexton and not Hendricks because Sexton hit the guy in the head, but man, that block was great. In fact, they don't have it because they call it a foul, so never mind. So he should have had 2 blocks tonight. But anyways, he can guard every position. Luka Doncic, look at the numbers for Luka tonight. 10 for 24. This is being guarded by Hendricks. 2 for 11 from 3. Fantastic. Luka still puts up these crazy numbers. 13 assists, 12 rebounds. So triple-double for Luka tonight. Ho-hum. But awesome night for Taylor Hendricks to do a good job guarding him to keep his shooting numbers down. You know, some of that is a little bit of just Luka struggling to hit the 3, but also it's Taylor Hendricks is on him, and he is an imposing defender. So nice to see from Hendricks. He keeps showing great signs. We should all be very excited, like Dre, about Taylor Hendricks, because turns out that was a nice pick, you know, and he's getting minutes, and the Jazz are doing this right. Give these guys minutes. They need time to get better. You know, you have to go through your lumps. You just have to. At some point in your career, you've got to take the training wheels off, and you're going to fall down a few times on that bike. And the Jazz are doing it now. So in 2 or 3 years, when these guys are going to be put in with, you know, when the Jazz are actually going for free agents and maybe trading picks for actual players rather than trying to draft them, they're ready to go. But if you don't have them go through their lumps, you're just postponing the inevitable. So it's nice to see them doing that now. And what it also does is it allows them this offseason to work on their deficiencies, which is what every player in the NBA does. So they're just helping these guys develop faster by playing them now. It's just really the way you have to do things. The NBA is not that complicated a lot of the time. It's really not. Your players that you want to develop and get better, they have to play. And they usually don't get to if you're on a contending team. You know, but if you're on a bad team, you shouldn't be wasting your time playing too many veterans when you've got rookies that need to get better, because you're going to lose games anyway. You don't gain a lot by playing veterans that aren't going to be on your team. That's why Olynyk is gone. That's why Fontecchio's gone. The Jazz did not want to pay those guys that money. And I guess there's a reason to kind of analyze that because, you know, Kelly Olynyk gets, what was it, like a 2-year, 20-something million deal. So he's making like 10 plus million. I can't remember exactly. I don't care to look it up. Fontecchio is going to get paid because he is big, he shoots, and he's a pretty solid defender. So there's someone out there that's going to pay him obviously more than what Utah wanted to, unless he already got a contract. I can't remember if he already got a contract offer from Detroit. He may have. If he did, guys, let me know. But the Jazz just didn't want to pay that. The Jazz are number 3 team with cap space this offseason, and obviously that number can be paid to Lauri Markkanen. When he's putting up numbers like this, it's fantastic. But obviously Utah needs to, Utah has to make a decision this offseason. What do they want to be? Do you want to be just spinning your wheels mid-lottery, or do you want to take advantage and take control of your own destiny, which is what I think they should do? They've got to make a decision because either way, they're not gaining fans by being bad, which they are. They might as well be extremely bad, because they're not good. And honestly, if you lose Olynyk and you lose Fontecchio and, Ochai Agbaji was playing 5 to 10 minutes a night by the end of his tenure with the Jazz, and that really just destroys your team, then it really tells you what you are. So the Jazz have to make some decisions. Anyway, back to this game. John Collins, 9 for 16 from the field. He was a beast tonight. 21 points, 11 rebounds, a split of 56 and 40 where he goes 9 for 16 from the field. He's just a beast. There's deficiencies there. You can nitpick with John Collins, but one thing is he's a tough player. He rebounds well. There's a few times where I think in transition I could stand to have him get back a little quicker. But he is a nice player to have on your team. Plus the demeanor, the mentality is great. He's a great teammate, great veteran to have on your team. He's really the type of guy that you would be happy to have on this team next year if they are trying to lose games, because you can have players like that allow guys like Keontae George to develop in the style the Jazz want, Collin Sexton is basically becoming like an automatic 20-6 guy. In fact, he shoots about 16 shots a game. This is crazy. I mean, honestly, every night it's almost automatic. 15 points tonight. I don't know if they have the back option like they do with Basketball Reference. Nope. But efficiency for him too. Look at this. 53, 50, and 100. I was talking about this last show and online. Sexton is just an incredible shooter. I know Markkanen had that awesome 3-point percentage, but Sexton actually has the highest 3-point percentage overall on the Jazz. He is a higher catch and shoot 3-point percentage, the best on the Jazz. He also is the best pull-up 3-point shooter for the Jazz. So basically in every way you can shoot a basketball, Collin Sexton is the best at it on the Jazz. I know some people say, well, Markkanen gets the value. He took 9. Well, Sexton took 6, and he's still hitting it at a high percentage as well. And the thing is a lot of these threes for Markkanen are catch and shoot. But Collin Sexton has a higher catch and shoot percentage. So if he's taking 9, he's probably hitting a higher percentage as well. So really impressive stuff from Collin Sexton tonight. He's just an impressive player. Now, I don't know what's going to happen next year, because he was in trade talks this offseason. I think Utah does have to make some decisions because I think you got to think, what is the ideal role for a player on a championship contender? If you imagine the Jazz are a championship contender, in fact, we can just go through the team. The ideal role for Markkanen is he's a starter on a championship team. I have no doubt. Like, Markkanen can start on a championship caliber team, but he's probably the number 3 option, right? You probably have him as your 3rd scoring option on a championship team. Taylor Hendricks, if he continues to develop at a high rate every year, he's adding things to his game, I think he can be a starter on a championship team. I don't know if he's going to be an all-star, but I think he can be a high-level starter for sure. I don't know if John Collins is a starter on a championship team because I don't know if he's a good enough defender, at least, lateral movement wise and things. I mean, even tonight he's a -10. I love the guy. I think he's great, but I think his, he does fit more as a center on a team. And so maybe backup center for John Collins on a championship team. Why not? Collin Sexton is probably a 6th man on a championship team. I don't think that's crazy to say. I know Jazz fans love him, and I love the guy too, and I love his fire and intensity, and he's a great scorer, and he does try hard on defense. I don't think he's a good defender, but he tries. But I think him as a six man coming in, putting in these types of numbers and playing within a team concept, which he's proven he can do, is really nice. But I think it's as a six man. The same thing goes for Jordan Clarkson, who, I mean, the shooting is just not there this year. It's just rough. And I think Jordan Clarkson is about as good as traded. We'll see what happens with Collin Sexton too, but he was 100% in trade talks and trade deadline stuff, and it just didn't happen. But this offseason, I wouldn't be surprised if it does. I wouldn't be surprised if Utah gets something pretty nice for him, for a team out there that just needs more shooting. I mean, he's honestly a great shooter for the season here. Look, I don't want to go look at the catch and shoot, but the catch and shoot, I think he's shooting like 45, 46% on catch and shoot threes. And I think he's at like 35, 36 on pull-ups, which is fantastic. Pull-up three is the shot that turns you from, you know, if you're a catch and shoot three, that's great. But when you're a good pull-up three-point shooter, that starts putting you in a different echelon of a scorer, you know, a different paradigm. So let's see. Collin Sexton here is shooting 40% from three, 49% from the field. Just awesome numbers. And he's now at 26 minutes per game, up from last year. He's 4 points per game better. The free throws, I actually think this is pretty impressive because post All-Star break, the NBA has really cracked down on free throws given to guys who are initiating contact, which I personally love. I mean, sometimes I watch Luka Doncic and I'm like, are you guys still getting the memo here? Because the guy is just kind of flopping into guys and getting foul calls still, and they're supposed to cut that out. Stupid refs. But look at this, 4.8 assists per game. That is a career high for him as well. So awesome season for Collin Sexton. I think these numbers, if you have him come off the bench for 20 to 26 minutes a game doing this, that is awesome. Just great. I think because he's a shooting guard, we know he's kind of a shooting guard. He's a scoring guard, basically, is what I'd call him, because he can do everything. He scores at all three levels, super fast, but the size does matter, and the defense does matter. You want to win a championship, you need to be able to defend at every position. You know, you look at the Denver Nuggets. I mean, I think Jokic is, I guess at this point, you'd consider him maybe an average defensive center at best. But because they have good defenders at every single position around him, it doesn't matter. You just need defenders at every position. When you start having 2, 3, 4 negative defenders on your team, it's when things start to struggle. I actually think Keontae was pretty good tonight defensively, and I think that's why he's only a -1 for the entire game in a 10-point loss. That tells you a lot. And then a -15 for Sexton, you know, that's pretty tough. I think sometimes that's just defense, but I think John Collins is probably average defender at best. Keontae, I think right now, I think he's proving to be kind of an average defender, although I would argue the place he needs to get better is transition defense. But half-court defense, I think he's pretty good. Honestly, pretty decent. He had some moments tonight where you're like, that's pretty good. John Collins' transition defense is very not good. It's very not good. But his half-court defense can be okay at times. Taylor Hendricks is a plus defender. I don't know if Markkanen's a good defender. He's one of those that I'm just not sure. There are times where I'm like, I think he might be a minus. There's been definitely times, if he's not 100% physically, he's definitely a minus. I think at best he's average, and you would hope he'd be a little bit better because he is 7 foot tall, but he's not an explosive leaper. He's not explosive side to side. Otherwise, he'd be the best player in the NBA, to be honest. But he's just an elite shooter, highly skilled in that area. He's tall. He is a good rebounder. Very solid rebounder, actually. Look at this. Tonight, 7 rebounds. He'll have 12, 13 rebound games, and it's not surprising. But he's just not a very, he's not a bad functional athlete, but he's absolutely not a elite functional athlete. Straight line drive's great. He had that awesome dunk last game, but that's like a straight line drive in transition, which is awesome. But side to side verticality, it's not quite there. So I think, and then when he's not 100% physically, and you can tell he's laboring through some sort of injury, you can tell he is a minus defender. He's just not quite that. So that's what part of the reason why the Jazz just struggle defensively. They just need defensive talent. Collin Sexton is a minus defender. He just is. Jordan Clarkson's a very minus defender. Bryce Sensabaugh, he's shown little moments, but he's a rookie, and Walker Kessler has been pretty, I feel like Walker Kessler the last 3 weeks has shown a lot more, and it's been really nice. For a lot of the season, though, I think he's been a little bit disappointing defensively. So it's been nice to see him the last 2-3 weeks really kind of step it up and show that he still can be a really solid, NBA player. But that's part of the reason why this Jazz team is going to struggle. They just don't have guys, and it's why someone like Stephon Castle is someone you want to add at shooting guard at 6'6", high-level defender, rebounder, high steal rate guy, just a beast of a human being. And, I want that guy on the floor, Also, he's an awesome passer. He kind of, what, if you haven't seen him play, his mannerisms remind me of Alec Burks. He kind of has that like walk. Just watch him and you'll know what I'm talking about. But he's actually there are times where you're like, holy cow, is he a good athlete? And functional athlete where he's side to side, leaping ability, moving his feet on defense, things like that, where you're like going laterally, side to side, quickness, all that type of stuff. Like athleticism is a pretty general term. But when you say like an NBA athlete, you're talking guys that combine different elements. It's not just how fast you are. Some players in the NFL are just fast. Some players in the NFL are just physically strong. In the NBA, you've got to combine everything. You've got to be fast, but you've also got to be, you've got to have agility. You've got to be able to go side to side. You've got to be able to stop on a dime at times. You've got to be able to with bigs. And this is one thing I'm not quite sure if he's there yet for Walker Kessler is how's that second jump? When you jump with your first contest, how quick do you get back up to block the second shot? Because there's almost always a second shot, and guys like Castle kind of have that athleticism. I need to watch him more to make sure, but what I've seen is impressive. But yeah, I love that guy, and I think he is what the Jazz need. The Jazz need defensive talent. They just do. Defensive talent that can score. It's why they drafted Taylor Hendricks, to be honest. That's what he is. He's defensive talent that can shoot it, and that's why you can kind of see what the Jazz are doing. It's why Cooper Flagg fits what they're going to do. I mean, he is like oh mama. When you talk defensive talent, he is awesome. And he's an absolute connector, shoots the ball. Oh my gosh, guys. What do we got to do? What do I got to do? What type of dark pact with the NBA gods do I have to make to get Cooper Flagg on this Jazz team? Ezekiel Raisibe, my favorite Australian. Let's see. What's up from Australia? Love watching your live streams, mate. Keep it up. My man. Shout out to Australia. Shout out to Ezekiel. You're the man. Thank you for watching the channel. I appreciate all the members so much. Thanks a ton, Ezekiel. Let's see. We mentioned him a little bit. It was nice to see Bryce Sensabaugh knock down a 3. He's also been slumping really badly lately. He only took 2 in this one, but it was nice to see the 1 fall. But he's struggling a tiny bit. Sorry. But it's just nice to see him kind of work through that, and just the Jazz giving him minutes because he's going to take his lumps as well. A lot of Jazz fans really love him. He's got work to do. He just does. He's got scoring talent, that's for sure. But like we said, Utah needs defensive talent. They need connectors. They need passing. There's a lot of things Utah needs. They also need elite athleticism. And I'm not sure Bryce Sensabaugh is a really explosive athlete, but he is big and he's got nice size. And so there's a lot to like, but there's a lot of work he's got to do. He's got to work on his body. All the rookies do. Keontae needs to work on his body. Same with Hendricks. Hendricks just needs to build strength. And then they all just got to work on their skill level. You've got to go out and you've got to improve on your craft. So, Keontae, like I said, it's a tough drought right now. I mean, you guys all know that Keontae is probably my favorite player on the Jazz right now. And so I'm rooting for this guy big time. He's just going through a major slump. Last 5 games, you look at this, 2 for 9, 1 for 6, 0 for 7. He did have, let's see, Against Minnesota, he did go 2 for 3, so that's nice to see, but 1 for 7. So he's slumping, but he'll come out of it. You know what I mean? Dre, do you think we need better vets? I personally think I think actually the Jazz need to go younger next year and lose games. I think they need to, I guess there's going to be a tightrope next year because they may just re-sign Markkanen to a contract and keep him, but then they need to rest him on back-to-backs and things, and they need to let a lot of rookies play. I think they need to trade Collin, Sexton, and Clarkson, play their rookies, like go draft Stephon Castle, go draft your late first-round guys and your early second-round guys. Play those guys a lot and lose some games because Utah still doesn't have their number one guy. They have some potential number twos in Keontae, Hendricks, and I think Markkanen is a potential number two as well, but they still don't have that MVP caliber guy. And that, the Jazz keep saying they want to win a championship. I want to win a championship. Do you guys want to win a championship? That's the goal. So, and Cooper Flagg is got that potential. He really does. He has a chance to be really special. Ace Bailey has that potential. Go watch some film, guys. I mean, every single YouTube video out there, when you start watching the high school basketball tape, is Cooper Flagg versus this guy. Cooper Flagg versus this guy. How good is Cooper Flagg? He is going to be awesome. I mean, maybe he disappoints. You never know. That can always happen. But I just think a guy like that with more space, with what he's able to do with his athleticism, he's going to be so nice defensively in the half court, especially. He can switch on everyone. He's like 6'9", 6'10". He's a great athlete. So he would just slide into that wing position for the Jazz like a glove. It would be phenomenal. I mean, it really would. Utah just doesn't have that elite wing yet. They just need it. You need that guy. You didn't get Wembanyama. It's okay. It's okay. But you need to get that elite wing, and Utah needs it. And you know what? Utah also needs they just need more talent, and they need more young talent. They just do. Taylor Hendricks and Keontae George are, to me, the kind of future pieces of this team. But you never know. I mean, as the season goes along next year, we'll see what they do. But I really hope they trade these guys, just because I think that if you want to win a championship, you got to do it. And they might get some incredible pieces. By the way, Oklahoma City has a ton of cap space and a ton of picks. Just throwing that out there. Let's see. So we talked about Sensabaugh. We talked about Clarkson. The nice thing with Clarkson is he led the team in assists. And, he couldn't hit a shot. Literally, he goes 0 for 7. But he only took 7 shots. And he had 8 assists. So it's just nice that he has kind of evolved to where if the shot's not falling, he's still moving that ball around and becoming quite the nice playmaker, to be honest. It's pretty impressive what Jordan Clarkson does. So that's just nice to see. He plays 33 minutes tonight. The Utah Jazz use him as a stabilizer. So Walker Kessler played 16 minutes tonight. He was perfect from the field. I felt like he had a pretty nice game. 9 points, 4 rebounds. Man, sorry guys, I'm tired tonight, I guess. 4 rebounds, 9 points. That's what happens when you go live. But anyways, he's been nice. I like what I've seen from him, and who knows, maybe he's the starting center next year if the Jazz make a ton of moves. I don't know. If the Jazz win the lottery, I mean, I'm guessing they take Sarr. But that gets really interesting. Remember, don't forget, one of the most interesting moves Danny Ainge ever made was he won the lottery with the Brooklyn Nets pick. If you don't remember, they were, in that draft, it was, and I don't know what happened because Markelle Fultz literally forgot how to shoot. It left it, he got monstarred, literally. Not literally, like the Monstars didn't come and literally take his powers away, but it felt like it because he was awesome. You go look at his film in college and then now how he shoots the ball, it's just like his brain broke. And a lot of people just considered him like a can't miss star point guard. And then he lost his ability to shoot the ball. It was crazy. So anyways, Danny Ainge, instead of picking Fultz, maybe he saw something that he didn't like or just liked Jason Tatum more. But you'll remember, Fultz goes 1, Lonzo Ball goes 2, and Danny Ainge trades back from 1, gets a pick, and then takes Jason Tatum 3, and he turned out to be the best player in that draft. So pretty amazing stuff. And so if the Jazz win this draft, I wonder if there is something like that goes on. Like maybe they do. Well, I would just say, I'm not going to say anything, but I would just say, go check out Stephon Castle tape. Okay? Go check out some Stephon Castle tape. But yeah, I love the guy. I hope the Jazz draft him. I think he's amazing. I hope they pick him because he's going to be a nice NBA player in my opinion. Anyways, let's see. Let's see here. All right, that's everything tonight. I mean, it was a loss. It was nice to see Lauri Markkanen go off and show what he can do. But you know what? The Jazz are happy with that because now, look, they are just 2 games back of Brooklyn after Brooklyn wins tonight. Who did Brooklyn beat? Brooklyn beat Toronto, who has been just horrible. I don't think the Jazz are really missing Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji too much. Brooklyn has the worst losing streak in the league right now. Look at this. They've lost 11 in a row. All of a sudden, Washington's won 3 in a row, which sucks because that's the pick the Jazz get in the second round. That's so annoying. Where are they? What's their record? They're only 2 games up on San Antonio. They need to stop this winning. Stop this winning, Washington. That would be so... I mean, that's crazy. For a little bit there, we had the best second-round pick. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter. It's pick 32 now instead of 31. Whatever. And Detroit, they're putrid. They've lost 7 in a row. That's crazy. All right. Well, let's start the music. Let's see what the Jazz get, and then let's give a shout-out to the All-Stars, shall we? By the way, my daughter is becoming a baller in soccer. She was awesome tonight. Shout out to Dessa. She was like handling the ball in traffic today, and she's in 3rd grade, and she was like crushing it. I gotta just teach her to go hard, crush some skulls, smash that ball when you get near that net. Smash the ball, Dessa. Go all the way. Freaking love that girl. All right, let's see. All right, so if the lottery was today, what would happen? Boom. Utah stays at 9. Toronto gets the number 1 pick. Brooklyn jumps to number 2, giving Houston the number 2 overall pick. No way. How bad would that be? Especially if Utah could have got the 8 pick. Oh my gosh. All right, well, we'll see what happens that night. But according to this, Utah has a chance. And I think between Jacoby Walter and Stephon Castle, they take Stephon Castle. I love that guy. 6'6", 6 rebounds a game, 4 assists, 0.8 blocks, and 1.1 steals. This guy, he has that dog in him, guys. I love Stephon Castle. All right, let's give a shout out to the All-Stars tonight. Let's give a shout out to Ryan Perry, the legend, the Tim Protector Robach, Nathan Burnett Burkhart, Fly Eagles Fly, Platinum Eagles, The Real Deal, Lars Jarvin, and Just Buckets JB, Baby Elliott Matson, Christian House Money to Haas, The Outlaw, Jesse James Nelson, Ezekiel Raicibe, The Man from Down Under, See Ya, Lex Slater, Built for Tough, Alexander Tufts, Jorge Arrizaga, Mi Amigo de Abajo, Jordan the Go Best Rule, TGD Total Game Domination, Tyson Price, The Price is Right, Austin our Grant Editor Extraordinaire, KG10 to TH5, DW to CB, Darren Williams to Carlos Boozer, Patrick Akubo the Connoisseur, and Robert Hall of Fame. Guys, have a good night tonight. Go Jazz. Like and subscribe to the channel. I will talk to you next time.